Joseph Parker versus Oleksandr Usyk. Absolutely. This was always the fight to make it heavyweight if we truly are living in a time of meritocracy.
I think the fight I'd rather see would be Dubois-Usyk, but Parker deserves his shot. It was Dubois that pulled out the Parker fight.
Trainer Andy Lee recently shut down any talk of Usyk facing Dubois, making it clear Parker is coming for his shot and won't settle for a vacant belt. The landscape of heavyweight boxing is shifting, and Oleksandr Usyk is at the center of it. With the recent launch of Dana White's TKO Boxing League, Usyk has shown immense support for the initiative, highlighting the importance of innovation in the sport. Speaking to Al Arabiya News, he praised the efforts of Saudi chief Turki Al Sheikh, calling it an amazing idea and commending the push for new opportunities in boxing. However, Usyk also made it clear that he has not been invited to participate yet, though he would seriously consider any proposal that comes his way.
Would you compete in Dana's new organization?
Чудова ідея, неймовірна.
Amazing idea. I think His Excellency is doing a lot for the sport. It's wonderful that new initiatives are created, and I support it. Many people think things may not work, but it's important to do new things, always.
Moving on, Usyk openly acknowledged the rumors about a potential fight with Daniel Dubois instead of Joseph Parker. He admitted that his team was ready for Dubois and was actively seeking that matchup. According to him, organizing the fight would require both divine intervention and the influence of Turki Al Sheikh, whom he credited as the key figure capable of making it happen.
Well, Alexander, it's reported that your team is keen rather that you fight the IBF champion Daniel Dubois. So where does that possibility stand?
Ми хочемо бій Дюбуа, команда моя готова.
We want to fight Dubois. My team is ready. A lot depends on how God will give us a way to do it. And the second, the person who can do it. It's His Excellency Sheikh Turki Al Sheikh, because he is the person who can organize this fight. Because I think there would be obstacles otherwise.
The WBO had officially mandated a title fight between Usyk and the winner of Dubois versus Parker. However, in a shocking turn of events, Dubois pulled out due to illness just days before the fight. And on short notice, Martin Bakole stepped in as a replacement, but Parker delivered a statement knockout against him, ultimately securing his shot at Usyk. Despite this, Usyk still has his eyes on a rematch with Dubois. In fact, even before Dubois and Parker were set to fight, Usyk had predicted a Dubois victory, hinting that his team was already preparing for that matchup.
Who win this fight? Daniel and Joseph? I already make a fight.
That's who you want to fight, the winner of Parker and Dubois?
Yeah.
And who do you think will win that?
Daniel and Parker. 52 it's Daniel. 48 the Parker.
Very specific.
Prediction, my team.
Despite Usyk's strong interest in Dubois, the WBO's order has seemingly put an end to any immediate discussions about that fight. As part of this decision, the WBO has ordered Usyk to enter negotiations for a mandatory title defense against Parker. Both fighters have been given a 30-day window to reach an agreement. If they fail to do so, the WBO will proceed with purse bid negotiations, potentially adding another layer of complexity to the situation.
News overnight, the WBO have ordered a mandatory world title fight between champion Oleksandr Usyk and former world champion Joseph Parker.
Fight against Daniel Dubois, wasn't there? But it looks like he's going to have to fight Parker. They've got 30 days now to reach an agreement for this ordered mandatory defense. Otherwise, the WBO will order purse bid proceeding.
David Higgins, Parker's longtime manager, welcomed the decision. Speaking to the New Zealand Herald, he said, "This is exactly what we expected. Parker has earned his shot and the WBO has followed its rules." Higgins also pointed out that while boxing politics sometimes delay these fights, this time the WBO acted decisively. "We knew this would happen sooner or later. The WBO has done the right thing," he stated. Similarly, former cruiserweight champion Tony Bellew weighed in on Parker's long journey to this title shot. He highlighted how Parker has repeatedly faced tough matchups, but continued to fight through adversity. Bellew applauded Parker's decision to step up again, saying, "Parker has had to fight through so much to get here. He stepped up when Dubois pulled out, and now he's getting the shot he deserves." However, not everyone is pleased with the WBO's decision. Boxing analyst Gareth A. Davies sees this as another instance of boxing politics interfering with major fights. According to him, the WBO's move has effectively blocked Usyk from holding onto the belt while attempting to unify against Dubois. He pointed out that with Dubois holding the IBF title, previously stripped from Usyk, the WBO's decision creates further complications for an undisputed fight.
Yeah, I mean, there's a spanner in the works here, isn't there? Kind of a depth charge that's been laid out by the WBO. It's boxing politics again. Gustavo Olivieri, the new president of the World Boxing Organization, is saying that basically Usyk's not allowed to keep the belt and fight for the undisputed title with Daniel Dubois. Obviously, Dubois holds the IBF title that was stripped from Usyk. Going to the complications of this, stripped from Usyk after he won all the belts against Tyson Fury.
Expanding on his stance, Davies argued that Usyk would have to relinquish the WBO belt if he chose to pursue the Dubois fight, which could ultimately prevent a true undisputed championship bout from happening. He labeled the WBO's ruling as a depth charge that could completely derail Usyk versus Dubois as an undisputed title fight.
Basically they're saying you're not going to have the WBO belt for this undisputed title fight that they're putting Usyk and Daniel Dubois together. It is boxing politics at its worst. It's a depth charge that the WBO have dropped, and it will scupper Usyk and Dubois being undisputed, Al.
Former world champion Duke McKenzie also weighed in, expressing doubt that the WBO would allow another undisputed fight to take place. He pointed out that since Usyk has been ordered to face Parker, he is now expected to start negotiations within 30 days. However, McKenzie speculated that Usyk might not go through with the Parker fight, which could result in the WBO title becoming vacant. If that happens, he predicted Parker would fight for the vacant championship, potentially against Anthony Joshua.
They won't allow another undisputed fight. I can't see it. If they're saying to Oleksandr Usyk now to fight your mandatory, which is your man there, Parker, then I think they're giving 30 days to negotiate, right? Or to start negotiations, right? So he's got to be seen to be starting negotiations, which on a personal level, I don't think Usyk's going to do that. I don't think Usyk's going to fight Parker. I can't see it. The vacant title. And I would hazard a guess he'll end up fighting AJ for the vacant championship of the world.
Carl Froch offered his thoughts on Parker's future, suggesting that a fight against Anthony Joshua would be a great matchup. However, he cast doubt on Joshua's current mentality in the sport. Froch stated that, in his opinion, AJ has lost his hunger, referencing his knockout losses and lack of urgency in returning to the top. He also mentioned Joshua's prolonged wait for a Fury fight that never materialized, raising questions about whether AJ remains a serious contender.
Who does Parker fight? I mean, I'd like to see Parker fight somebody like AJ. I think that's a good win for Parker, to be honest. I think AJ's finished. I think AJ's well past his best. I don't think his mind's in it. I just think he's finished. And I'm not being an AJ hater. I'm just being honest. He's been ironed out a couple of times, and he's not showing any kind of signs of wanted to come back. He was hanging around there for the Fury fight, but the Fury fight's probably not going to happen. Fury seems to be digging his heels in and staying retired. We never know what's going to happen there.
Moving on, Joseph Parker is at a critical point in his career, and his coach, Andy Lee, has made it clear. His fighter wants Usyk, not a vacant title. The New Zealander has fought his way back to the top, and Lee believes it's time for Parker to reclaim what he lost years ago. Lee emphasized, "I think he deserves his title fight now. I think everyone agrees on that. At least the WBO are stepping up and mandating him now." But with Daniel Dubois also in the mix, he further added, "People have seen Dubois fight Usyk already. It wasn't that long ago. People have already seen Usyk Dubois, and Usyk won by stoppage. For us, our first preference is to fight Usyk, definitely. If not, we'll fight for the vacant title, but we want to fight Usyk. That's our aim." Johnny Nelson also shares the same sentiment. He argues that Parker was prepared to fight while Dubois stepped away, and it would be unfair to reward Dubois with a title shot ahead of Parker. In his words, the one who showed up and proved himself should be the one getting the reward, not the one who walked away from a fight.
Yeah, and he deserves it because it was Daniel Dubois that pulled out of the fight, not Joseph Parker. And it was Daniel Dubois that put himself out of line for it. So why would Daniel Dubois be awarded a crack a direct crack.
Adam Catterall has also been vocal about this issue, calling it a matter of meritocracy. According to him, Parker versus Usyk was always the fight to make, but boxing politics and unnecessary bureaucracy delayed it from
Joseph Parker versus Oleksandr Usyk. Absolutely. This was always the fight to make it heavyweight if we truly are living in a time of meritocracy. I'll be honest, I was fearful that the usual politics and BS would get in the way and push us in a different direction. The WBO, for example, have had the interim heavyweight belt contested for 5 times, whilst we've had an active champion in the shape of Oleksandr Usyk.
He criticized the WBO for allowing the interim heavyweight title to be contested multiple times while Usyk remained champion. Now, with Parker's dominant performances, Catterall believes the time has come to make this fight happen. He even suggested pairing Dubois against Ajit Kabayel on the same card to determine who deserves the next title shot. Meanwhile, fans too are furious about Usyk leaning toward Dubois instead of Parker. Social media has been flooded with frustration. One fan raged, "We the Usyk people were ready to give that ungrateful crybaby Dubois a rematch that he didn't deserve in a fight that he got dominated in. Then you pulled out of the Parker fight for no reason, and you blew it." Another said, "I'd pay to see Dubois versus Parker before Usyk versus anybody." Others were more conflicted. "I really hate to root against Parker. If he was fighting anyone other than Usyk, I'd be rooting for him. Dubois lost his chance. Make the fight." And then there was this. "No man deserves a crack at the king more than this man. Joe Parker is the #1 contender in the HW division." Carl Frosch, however, sees things slightly differently. While he acknowledges Parker's deserving position, he personally finds Usyk versus Dubois to be a more interesting fight. He argues that Dubois, despite his past loss, has improved and could present a bigger challenge to Usyk than Parker would. Brock also believes that Usyk's age is a factor, and a younger, stronger Dubois might have a better chance of dethroning the Ukrainian champion.
I'll be honest, I would rather see Dubois Usyk. I think that's a more interesting fight. I think Dubois has got more of a chance against Usyk. He dropped him down. I know it was a body shot, stroke, low blow, depending on which side of the fence you're on. But it was a good fight, and Dubois has improved since. Usyk's getting older. Obviously, they're both getting older, but Usyk's old. He's 36 years old. And Daniel Dubois is in the prime of his career at 27 years old. So I think Dubois gives Usyk more of a challenge than Parker.
At the same time, Frock concedes that if the WBO strips Usyk of his title, Parker should be given the opportunity to fight for the vacant belt. He suggests a scenario where Parker fights for the title first, and then Dubois gets a shot at the winner. But in his opinion, Usyk remains the overwhelming favorite if he does face Parker.
I think the massive favorite, like I've already said, is Usyk if he's fighting Parker. So Oleksandr Usyk's got a decision here to make. Does he vacate the WBO and maybe fight Dubois, or does he fight Parker for the WBO? He's been ordered to do that. That's what really he should do if he wants to keep hold of his titles. I think he'll probably vacate, and hopefully, if he does vacate, fight Daniel Dubois, because that is a rematch that I think most boxing fans do want to see.
Even before the WBO's mandatory order was confirmed, Dubois' promoter Frank Warren made it clear that their primary focus was on securing a rematch. Speaking to TalkSport, Warren revealed, "I met with him and his father, and we are working on his next fight. Hopefully, we will be in a position to announce that soon. The Usyk fight, I'd love it. It's a great fight, a great rematch, and a real story to it." Warren further said, "Usyk against Daniel Dubois is a mega fight that would sell Wembley out in a day. If we can get it over the line, it could be at Wembley. Yeah, that is where I'd like it to go. I'd love to get a home advantage for our guy, and the event would be huge." Meanwhile, Gareth A. Davies has also weighed in on this fight, pointing out that Usyk versus Dubois would still generate massive interest, particularly due to the controversy surrounding their first fight.
I think he'll still go ahead and fight Usyk because it's the biggest fight out there.
We'll have to wait. Okay.
Yeah, I think Parker will have to wait. But the fascinating thing, because I think Usyk and Dubois does sell in a big stadium in the UK. They got all the controversy of the low blow in the first fight. Dubois flying. Some people think he might do a good job against Usyk. I think Usyk still wins.
However, if Usyk is stripped of the WBO title, Parker's next fight could be against someone like Justice Hooney, Moses Italma, or Fabio Wardley, creating even more uncertainty in the division. According to Davies, boxing has once again become unnecessarily complicated when the solution should be simple. Parker versus Usyk should happen.
The fascinating thing for Parker, if Usyk's stripped of the title and that becomes vacant, is that number 1, 2, and 3 are Justice Hooney, Moses Itauma, and Fabio Wardley in the rankings. So who knows what may happen with that? But it's boxing being complicated again, and it really shouldn't be this complicated.
With the belts currently tied up between Usyk and Dubois, Moses Itauma's title hopes seem to be slipping away. However, should the WBO title become vacant, a window of opportunity might open for Itauma to face Joseph Parker for the belt. The two have shared the ring before, though only in sparring when Parker was preparing for his victory. However, trainer Andy Lee believes that an official fight between the two could have long-term consequences for the young prospect. Lee didn't hold back in his assessment. Look, Moses is a hell of a fighter, but if he were to step in with Joe Parker, it's a big ask for him. It's a big step up for him. In fact, it's a massive step up for him. Speaking on their past sparring sessions, he added, "I saw them spar. It was 4 rounds. It was very competitive, but for 4 rounds, everyone can be competitive." He then explained why sparring doesn't always reflect a real fight. If Joe's going to do 4 rounds with another guy after that, and then another 4 rounds after that with another guy, you're going to do well. And it wasn't as if he did particularly well, they were just competitive rounds. Joe probably got the better of it, but it was very competitive. Amidst the ongoing drama in the heavyweight boxing scene, Oleksandr Usyk has sparked further intrigue by suggesting he might consider a switch to MMA. This speculation arose after UFC superstar Alex Pereira called him out for a potential crossover fight. Usyk himself revealed that he would be open to facing Pereira in an MMA fight, but only after his long-anticipated clash with Daniel Dubois. He jokingly stated that he had even considered fighting in a cage, adding that while it was a joke, every joke contains a hint of truth.
And the UFC fighter, Alex Pereira, has expressed an interest in a crossover fight with you. Is that something that interests you as your final fight before retirement, maybe?
Да, мені б це було цікаво, але після...
Yes, I would be interested. But only after the fight with Daniel, to match our belts. I didn't consider the option of fighting in a cage. It's a joke, but every joke contains an element of truth.
Despite entertaining the idea of stepping into an MMA cage, Usyk has also made another surprising revelation about his future. After becoming undisputed in both cruiserweight and heavyweight divisions, the 38-year-old is already looking at what comes next, and that might be Hollywood. Usyk admitted that he envisions himself in a dramatic role, believing that he could deliver a strong performance on the big screen.
Alongside Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for the movie The Smashing Machine, are you looking to become the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe?
Ні, я не думаю, що я майбутній Арнольд Шварценеггер, ні в якому разі. Я не такий моцний, як він.
I don't think I will be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm not as solid, but I practice acting. I would like to be in a movie. I see myself in dramatic role. I think I'll be able to act well.
Adding on to this, Usyk is stepping into Hollywood with a role in The Smashing Machine, starring Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. The film, directed by Benny Safdie, follows MMA legend Mark Kerr's rise and struggles. Usyk is reported to play Ukrainian fighter Igor Vovchanchin, Kerr's former rival. Previously, he voiced a character in The Stolen Princess and had a minor role in The Fight Rules. This marks his biggest acting opportunity yet, hinting at a possible post-boxing career in films. Before Usyk can fully transition into acting or entertain an MMA fight, he still has business to handle in the ring. The immediate question is, who will he fight next? While Usyk is aiming for an undisputed clash with Dubois, the WBO has already mandated him to face interim champion Joseph Parker. This creates a complicated situation, as choosing Dubois could force the WBO to strip him of the title. The role of Turki Al Sheikh, the key figure behind Saudi Arabia's recent mega fights, could be crucial in determining how this plays out. His influence has already shaped major events in boxing, and he might have a say in whether Usyk's fight with Dubois goes ahead without WBO interference. Given his involvement in past negotiations, his stance could decide whether the governing body enforces its mandate or allows Usyk to move forward with Dubois first. What do you think? Should Usyk take the Dubois fight and risk being stripped, or should he defend his WBO title against Parker? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and show your support by subscribing to our channel.